Hi, this is the All-American Man, Alex Matthews, the hardest worker in wrestling today, and you're listening to the WrestleHorror podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WrestleHorror.
Well, I got to say, Cody is a master, and I live 10 minutes away from the FGW arena.
Oh, okay.
And my daughter was training with Cody for about a year.
Okay.
And her boyfriend talked her out of it.
What a fool. But yeah.
He was training too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He got disillusioned by the reality of pro wrestling.
Interesting.
So he convinced her to step away from it. I was so mad because she was within probably about a month of going and doing a show on Friday night.
Wow. And she just walked away.
Walked away from it.
Interesting. That's sad.
Drives me nuts to this day, but she's still my daughter and I still love her regardless. But it's like, you're killing me.
Right. That's great. Wow.
She bought gear from Zoe Sky.
Wow.
And all this other stuff. And then she quit. It's like,
man.
But it is what it is.
Right.
I can't change that. She's 25 years old. She can make her own choices. I don't agree with it, but she's an adult.
Right.
But Cody taught her so much, Alex. I mean, she right before she quit, she had just successfully completed her first moonsault.
Wow. She can already do more than me.
But Cody, mad props to Cody. He's amazing, and the talent he's churned out over the years is second. Sure.
And the guys that wrestle at FGW, like you said, from the FGW arena, I remember I went there for the first night, and they made me feel at home. They made me feel family. I didn't know any of them. I was nervous. I stood in the corner. Most people who know me when I'm in the back of a wrestling, when we're about to go wrestle, I just find myself because, it's weird, right? I get on camera, I get pressure put on, or like you said, when we go out there for the show, but that's all I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about what we're going to, and it's not planning the match per se, but just thinking about, like I said, those little things and trying to be better and trying to implement it. All right, so today we're going to do this, and today just thinking about it. But anyway, back to, like you said, just making me feel like home and making me feel like, welcoming me, saying, hey, how are you? Trying to involve me in things and trying to, just make it more than just, another wrestling show, and Punk Rock Kid too, cool guy, definitely sweetheart, and just, wanted to help me out. He always tells me all the time, he's like, oh, you've seen this a million times. I'm like, it doesn't matter if I've seen it a million times. I want your input, and it's always great input. And it's always, when we go out there and we do it, it's always great. It's like, and so, I mean, like I said, every guy or every person yes, guy, gal, great wrestlers. And definitely, it's great that Cody offers something like that, where we can go in there, cut our teeth week after week, and be able to, improve our craft. And for a TV audience, right? They just got that Dayton TV deal. I'm not sure if they already had it, or I forget the details, but they're on TV and they're doing more and more production than, at least I've overheard Cody and some of the production in the back to talk about, that they've ever done. So, I mean, always improving, always going.
Oh yeah. I agree with you. I was, they actually called me to be a ring announcer back in December when Rick Toms couldn't be there. And so I came out there, and everybody's very warm behind the scenes, and hi, nobody ignored me as everybody came up to me, just like the boys are supposed to. You're supposed to go around and meet everybody, and everybody was coming up to me, and it made me feel really good, being that I've been going since before Origins 2.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden at the end of December, I was ring announcing for them, and always been in the seats. Now I'm in the ring. So they were all just great people. And Cody runs a tight ship, but he runs a warm family type ship, if that
I
makes
agree. Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. Cody's the law, and everybody knows that. You don't cross the law, right? But at the same time, he gives you the platform to provide your passion and love of pro wrestling.
Yep, definitely. And as a matter of fact, speaking of Cody Hawk, he's going to be wrestling at the Arnold as well.
Yep, that's true. How many nights is he? I know I saw him and Shauna are wrestling, and I think is it a multi-gender? Is it a mixed gender match?
One of them is. They're going to be wrestling on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, they got a mixed tag, and then they're doing singles on Sundays, so they'll be there 2 days.
Yeah. Well, Shauna's in a triple threat match.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'll both be up there, and not only that, but we got Matt Taylor.
Yep.
We've got Scotty Amos.
Yep.
Harley Fairfax.
Right. I'm trying to think if there's somebody else that right off the Damian Chambers.
Damian Chambers, tag team champion right now in FGW.
That guy's on to something. I'll put that guy over any day. That guy's on to something. I hope he gets Crash Jackson. Is he on? I know he's doing.
He's not on the card.
Okay, I know he's doing the gut check. I like Crash.
He's doing the gut check.
Crash Jackson.
Yeah, good for him. He's good.
Yeah. So speaking of which, since we're going to be on here and put him on the spot, Donnie, you got guys out here wrestling 2 days. I told you months ago that I wanted to wrestle all three.
Right. I know. I've had to turn a bunch of people away for, can't even fit them on.
I know. I remember Donnie, he goes, "You want to wrestle Arnold?" I'm like, "What kind of question is that?" Of course I want to wrestle the Then I know. I was like, I'll make sure I'm free all 3 days. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead. I'll be all available for you. And then I saw, like I said, that James Avery Open Challenge, and I was like, I was all over it. I want. So super excited for that. And I think this is my first Arnold actually with you guys. I for whatever reason, I can't remember in my head. Let alone all the other stuff that I've already mentioned for the last how long now. I don't know why I haven't. I don't know whatever happened or what came up or what have you, but it's super exciting and super nerve wracking because, like, I mean, I've loved bodybuilding too, and of course, people, and just like the atmosphere. I mean, I subscribe to guys like Chris Bumstead. I watched Nick Walker, Ryan Terry, Arnold Classic champion before, men's physique. Just guys like that, and knowing that they'll be there, and Arnold in general, just the spectacle that will be, and wrestling in front of that type of crowd. It's just it's like nerves, but it's good nerves, right? Like like I said, you're starting to get confidence in yourself, and you're like hope to deliver and want to deliver, and then like you were talking about the impact gut check and things like that. And it's like it's more eyes, and you start to get a little more nervous, but at the same time, is this what we do, right? That we wrestle because we love to wrestle. It doesn't matter who's there or what. It's just I want to go out there, have a good match with James, and hopefully somebody will talk about me later in a good way, right? Like, hopefully it'll be like, man, Alex, James, that was good, So
you never know who's going to be there. I mean, I'm expecting some WWE and AEW talent to be there as well, just because it's the Arnold.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
And you never know what promotions are going to have scouts out there to see what's going on at New Ohio Wrestling.
Right. Right.
Yeah. There's rumors that people are going to be in the crowd watching the shows. So you never know. Like I said, our goal is to open doors for people. So hopefully, something good comes out of it.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. That'd be really, I mean, and that's the other thing. Like I was talking about unfathomable, like just like thinking that type of deal would happen to me. And I don't know, why I think like that sometimes, but it's just, I don't know. We watch, like I said, we watch these guys for however long, and we think of them in a certain way, and to think that could be us, and I know tons of guys who that's happened to. They've gotten signed, they got their contracts, and they're doing their thing, and that's great for them. But it's just hard to imagine for me. I don't know. The boyhood dream has come true for Alex. Just hard to imagine.
You never know. I mean, there might be a door open for you after this.
And I'll give all the credit to Donnie Hoover.
Donnie takes payments.
I'm sure he does.
I'll just take attaboys. That's enough for me.
Yeah. But what are you guys, just because I feel like this will be what do you, because I know you guys got a lot of guys on the card that might also not be familiar with this area, or they're more associated with different areas. What type of guys are you guys excited to see that aren't like what is this guy's name? Victor Benjamin. Is that true? He's there, right? Victor Benjamin?
Yeah, he'll be there all 3 days. He's coming up for the weekend. And he's been on our shows before, so I'm real familiar with him and Lady Frost. They've both been on our shows and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to see him. Actually, to be honest, one guy that I've always wanted to watch just out of curiosity, and he's actually another one of the James Avery challenge, is Jamie Holly. I've always been interested in him, and I wanted to see what kind of, because he reminds me of a big stocky Rick Steiner type of wrestler, and so I'm just curious to see what he can do. And yeah, because he's one I've never seen any of his work in person and stuff, which there's quite a few that I haven't. But yeah, Jamie Holly kind of has my interest for a little bit.
What about you, Jim?
There's so much talent coming in. I'm familiar with Victor Benjamin, but the one that's got me most curious is his now Magic Jake Dumas or Dumois. He used to be Fable Jake in the NWA, and they changed his gimmick. And we talked to him last week, and I'm really interested to see what he can do, because he seems like he's the type of talent that could really draw the attention of a crowd.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the one I'm looking. I mean, there's a lot of talent that I've seen, and I know how they work. But he's one of the ones I want to see. I want to see how he works and everything. So yeah, it would be him and Beastman are my two ones I want to see work this weekend.
For sure. I just did a tag match with Beastman. Well, not with him, against him, but that was pretty good. It was pretty different. Like you said, used to wrestling guys your size. Well, everybody's for the most part bigger than me, but now a really big man, getting to do it as a heel and get to be like that cowardly, classic old school, just big man versus little man thing. That was cool. Especially with the gimmick. Very cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So Donnie, even though we haven't talked a whole lot about horror, we got to get a little bit of horror in there.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. It wouldn't be WrestleHorror without it.
Yeah. Well, I think you need to pop the question on Alex.
All right. Well, first off, are you a big horror fan, or do you have an old school icon that you favor, or what? How are you about horror films?
Well, I would say I used to. When you get married, you have kids. You can't necessarily always watch movies anymore, right? So I'd say I wouldn't say horror films exactly. It depends on your definition of horror. I like the more suspense and thriller movies. Kind of goes with my wrestling style, like I was telling a story, but just give the bumps. And trying to think, what would be one. I really liked The Conjuring when it came out. I really liked The Conjuring. I thought that was really good. You're smiling a little bit. What do you think? Go ahead.
There's a reason I'm smiling, and I will explain it to you. Donnie's like, oh shit, here we go again. Okay, you enjoyed The Conjuring.
Yeah.
Okay. How much do you believe of that story?
Well, all right. If you watch the movie, I don't believe the end. But
okay.
I mean, it depends. I mean, I would say I would arguably believe in some paranormal, you know what I mean, here and there. So I mean, there's some stuff that I would believe somewhat happened. I don't know about the whole thing. You know, that's why it's called based on a true story. It's not all true.
Correct. Now, the reason that I laugh,
Here it comes.
I'm a paranormal investigator.
Really? Okay. Okay.
On September 9th of this year, Donnie and Terry, myself and my wife, Shauna Reed, and a friend of mine are going to investigate the actual Conjuring house in Rhode Island.
Holy crap. That's it.
Yes.
I hope the best for you. I hope the best for you.
Yeah, I've never done them before, so it's definitely going to be interesting. I figure go big or go home.
And that was my thought process, because I bought a whole bunch of new equipment. My latest piece of equipment that just came in is a thermal imaging camera.
Oh, okay. That's cool. That's super sweet.
Yeah,
That'll be super.
not cheap.
No, I bet. Don't doubt it.
But I've been playing with it all weekend. I was watching it. I let my dog out in the backyard, and I could tell where she took a dump. It's like,
Gosh.
uh,
What's just because you talk about it and like we're on the theme of horror, what was like the craziest thing that you've ever experienced since you said you're a paranormal investigator? What was the craziest thing you've ever experienced?
that's a good question. There's two things that come to mind. And both of them actually happened. There's a decommissioned prison in West Virginia called in Moundsville. And it's the former West Virginia State Penitentiary.
Okay.
And one of the things that happened is I was sitting in the cafeteria, pitch darkness, with my ex-wife who was investigating with me at the time, and someone grabbed my pant leg and pulled.
Oh man.
Now I had a night vision scope, and I looked around. I couldn't find anything. And I'm gonna amend that to three things, and I'll tell you the second one, then the third one. The second thing in that same prison was I was doing an EVP session, and my ex-wife was like, "Oh, look, there's orbs on the camera." I'm not a big fan of orbs because there's too many ways that they can be,
Right.
Debunked.
Right.
But I went back through the audio, and I've got an ethereal voice on my recording saying, What did you get?
Wow.
And the third thing is the Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. And my current wife and I were there, and on the fourth floor, what they do, if you take the 2-hour tour, there are absolutely no lights on this floor whatsoever. And they'll take people and they'll send them down a hallway. And the reason for this is because there are shadow people that occupy the fourth floor. And people say, oh yeah, it's BS. But I watched my wife walk down the hallway and completely disappear from sight. And then she reappeared when she started walking back, and it wasn't because of distance, it was because something was blocking.
Wow.
So those are three things that really stand out to me in paranormal investigation. And I'm what you call a hopeful skeptic.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time believing, but I want to believe, and I'm looking for that proof.
I get that.
And with the Conjuring house, I'm hoping I get a whole lot of proof.
Right.
Mhm.
That'd
Or
be
you
super.
you just check my underwear after we're done. You'll probably get all the proof you need. Hey, what was the place you were at where the ghost didn't like you, or didn't want to provide any activity because you were around or something?
Yeah, that was at there's a bar in Wilder, Kentucky, which is just across the river from Cincinnati. It's called Bobby Mackey's.
Okay.
And I went there with some Ghost Hunters International people back in the mid 2000s, late 2000s. And they have a device called an Ovilus. And what it does is it takes electronic phenomena and translates it into voice.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all sitting, there's about 20 of us sitting in a group. And the guy that was leading the group said, okay, everybody ask the question, are you not talking because I'm here? Because we were getting nothing but static, nothing coming across. And I'm about in the middle of the group and everybody's going through and they get to me and I say, are you not talking because I'm here? And it says, yes, clearly.
Wow.
So they asked me to get up and leave the room. Now I was still within earshot because it's a bar and the walls aren't full, but I was in a separate section of the bar. Now, as I'm standing in the separate section of this bar, they're starting to talk to it again and it's chattering up a storm. But to my left, I can hear bar stools moving where nobody is.
What?
That was just one of those things. I didn't have the equipment I have now.
Right. I wonder why I didn't, or what I didn't like about you.
That's a good question. And maybe it's because I was a skeptic.
Right.
Would not talk until after I left the room. Then it was chattering up a storm.
Right. You ever, I wouldn't say, not to get, like, cause I could talk about this stuff. This stuff's always interests me, but, just like things that are, you can clearly, I wouldn't say clearly tell, because those are certain special people that can tell those types of deals, but like clearly something is not good here. Like this is not something we should play with, or, it's like, we got to go style, you go somewhere and you go, we got to go.
Well, and that's one of the things that concerns me about the Conjuring House. My wife and I, we've been doing this for over 20 years, and we know how to protect people from bad spirits.
Right.
And I say bad spirits, bordering on demonic.
Right.
And we're going to go over because none of these people have really done anything like this. I mean, Chris and I are the experts on this. And so there's going to be protections in place to make sure they don't bring anything nasty home.
Right. For sure.
And silver is a beautiful deterrent, just so you know.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
I wear a silver necklace with a silver charm all the time. But silver will help protect against bad forces. But it's got to be constant. If you're going to be in that location, you just can't not have some kind of silver on you. And it can't just be a little bitty piece. It's got to be, at least a little bit of a substantial amount of silver to deter that.
That's interesting. What about you, Donnie? We've me and Jim been going back and forth. What's your favorite horror, or what recent movie would you say that came out? Because you said you were an 80s guy earlier. What's something recent that you really liked when it came out?
To be honest, I actually like the new Texas Chainsaw that came out, because I didn't go into the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre looking for a story. I went in looking for what it was a gory slasher, because I'm a slasher fan. And the story was kind of, in some ways it was kind of corny, but some ways I got it, and it didn't add up. Like the story didn't line up with the others, but the gore was phenomenal. I mean, for what it was amazing.
Gotcha.
It was a gore fest.
Oh yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
It was. I mean, especially the bus scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, like I said, I've seen a lot of people bashing it and stuff, like, oh, it sucked, this and that. And that's because they were going in looking for a story. And I'm like, that's not what Texas Chainsaw Massacre is. Like it's a it's a slasher,
Well, just because to show, like I said, how far back I watched them, you guys might not remember them right offhand. The one thing that like I always got, I wouldn't say turned off with, but like it was like I got turned off, but then turned back on, was with the Saw films. And the reason for that is like I like the Saw films, they were good. Like it was a nice, good story. First one, dude walks, all that. And had good principle and things like that you could follow. And then it started to get a little carried away, and like it's like it was hard to follow kind of there for a minute from what I can remember, where I was just like, this is just like you said, gore is that's all it was.
Yeah.
Or,
they call it torture porn is what they call it.
Where it's getting kind of like the story's getting lost, but then you caught back up and they caught the story back towards the end half, where you started to get into the, what was it, like the 6, 7 or final chapter, whichever, however many it was, and all came back around and things like that. And then, so I don't know, I wanted your guys' principle, like I said, just because we've barely talked about horror, I just wonder what you guys thought about those.
Yeah, like I said, I'm okay with a slasher film that doesn't have a solid, consistent story. And because I go in expecting it is what it is. Just like I'm a huge Jason fan. I'm a Friday the 13th guy, and they're probably the prime example of stories that didn't stay on track. I mean, they just got to a certain point and like, all right, we're going to turn left and we're going to put him here, and then we're going to put him here. And, then they brought it back around and they made a new remake and tried to explain how he was always in certain spots. And, but Jason's just my guy, he's a slasher, and he's, him and Michael Myers are probably, or not probably, they are the two greatest slashers ever created. So, yeah, that's just, it is what it is. Like I said, people, like you said, you like thrillers, and me and my wife just saw a good thriller the other night called No Exit. It was on Hulu, and it was like a drama thriller, and it was actually really good. And but yeah, like I said, I'm a slasher guy, and I like the found footage films too. I've realized a few years back that I'm a pretty big fan of found footage films. So those kind of are down my alley as well.
Yeah, those are cool. What's that movie? I can't remember what it's called offhand for whatever reason. I'm gonna probably catch heat because I know a lot of people love it. What was the one where like what was it, the blind man, and they try to rob his house, and then it turns out that he actually tries to get them? What movie was that? And they came out with a second one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I cannot remember the title.
Yeah. Hush was a different movie, so that's not it.
Yeah, Hush was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean Hush was good. I remember Hush.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but that movie, like when we were talking about drama, thriller,
it was Don't Breathe.
Don't Breathe. There it is. That movie. That one was really good. Like I even liked I even found, because I saw it in theaters, I even liked how when they shot the gun in the color, because it was like black or it was dark, or tried to portray that it was dark, like the camera work. And then it was like when they shot the gun, it was like color for like a moment and then went back to black. Like I just thought like that was just cool. It was different. Like you don't see stuff like that, where it was just like, it was almost like it was trying to be realistic and like trying to be first person. Like what would happen if like you did that, you encountered stuff like that. It was cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Going back to Saw, I've got all the Saw movies. Love them. I'm a fan of the gore. It's like I want something to just horrify me. I want something to just make me cringe. And we could go on and on for hours about this because I'm a professional haunted house actor.
Right.
And so it's very difficult to scare me.
I get that.
You have all the hostile films too?
Yes, I do. That's torture porn.
No, yeah.
More so than Saw is. That's definitely torture porn.
I definitely time I saw that movie, that's exactly what I thought. I walked away and I was like, what did I just watch?
Watch a Serbian film.
Oh, I've actually heard of a lot of my friends have tried to say that. They said, you should watch that. I said, I am never going to watch that movie. Remember, I said,
watch Terrifier.
Terrifier is a good one.
Okay.
We actually had the killer on our show.
Oh, really?
I was last year, I think.
Mhm.
Plays Art the Clown. And he's just nasty. He's evil. He doesn't say a word. Watch it and you'll understand. I don't want to give anything away.
All right.
But it's definitely, I became a fan of that. And then of course there's Girls with Balls,
Right. Which is currently on Netflix.
Oh, God.
Oh, it was bad.
Are you guys fans of bad horror films? Like,
So-
you laugh?
I am to a certain extent. Yeah. Yeah. I was a fan of Girls with Balls because everybody watching it with us was hating it. So it made it fun for me because I knew I was torturing them. But it's basically a girls volleyball team meets Hills Have Eyes. That's pretty much
Right.
what it is.
And
Holy.
it was Donnie and Terry and me and Chris, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we
And
had our
Terry-
daughter for a while, and then she gave up and went upstairs.
Right. Terry and Chris are like, are you serious? And me, you were like, hey, Girls with Balls.
Yeah, give it a chance.
Horrible, But-
Mark that.
but fun. Yeah. You
But-
see nubile young girls with volleyballs and mutants that are trying to do whatever, it's like,
Oh, my.
so Donnie, I think you need to drop the question on Alex.
All right. Yep. We're going to put you on the spot here. There is no right or wrong answer. It's all for fun. We just like to get inside the minds of our guests and see if they're just as twisted and weird as we are. So that question is, you are the main serial killer in your own horror film. What is your go-to kill?
What is my, oh, man. I would actually say, and I'm not going to have an exact one because I can't remember, but I would say, oh man, I just lost it. What, I think it's called The Collector. You guys remember that movie?
Mhm.
Yes.
That is who I would like to be. If I was going to have one, that is what I would do.
Nice.
Nice, precise, like little, like,
Just have you a nice
still-
collection.
but the what was it, the piano scene where he uses the piano wire and he sets it up like, obviously she runs through the hallway 50 times, then all of a sudden somebody, he puts it out there, like that type of ordeal. I don't know, just like the little The Collector. I would say I would try to resemble that. If I
Nice. Piano wire is always a good kill.
But I mean, that's just the most memorable that I remember from that movie. But I remember, just because we're talking about it, like you said, I love the Collector was a really good movie when it came out. I loved that movie. I remember when part 2 came out, and I was so excited to see that movie just because of how good the Collector was. I do remember that.
No, very cool.
Very awesome. So Alex, tell people how they can find out, even though you don't like social media that much.
Yeah, I mean, they can find me on Facebook. Alex Matthews Facebook. I do have a Twitter, even though I started it because I like I said, you got to be involved in social media these days, but I never use it. But I don't have the little thing right now, but I'm on Facebook and Twitter. Nothing crazy like Instagram and TikTok or whatever these people do these days. technically I have a YouTube channel, but it's like just to post matches and promos, and that's really it. So I mean, I guess you could find it on that. I have tons of, I wouldn't say tons, but I have okay matches on YouTube that they can, if they just search Alex Matthews Wrestling, they can find it. An Alex Matthews match from probably 2014 to 2016 to probably recent. I would say even probably recent.
Okay.
I would sucks on YouTube, but right, anything film. I mean, Donnie, what did you Fight TV? Right, you said I have a couple matches. That Jeff Cannon match that I referenced, I thought that was really good for somebody for how many years I had in the business, and I really enjoyed that match going in against Jeff Cannon. The tag match is on there from now. I'm trying to think what other we did with now.
I think it was just those two. Yeah, but they're both on Fight.
So I mean, those are just a couple things, Jim, that people can try to find me. I wouldn't say I'm hard to find, I guess, being X amount of years in the business now. But
now, do you post your upcoming shows on any of your social media?
Oh, for sure. I always try to share. Like right now, I would say I'm pretty frequent with. I just got into War. Me and Ryan Michaels with Nick Hahn, the Entourage, War Wrestling in Lima. OCW, love OCW too. That's more Akron. And then there's Power Slam Pro Wrestling. They're like that picture behind you. It's just every once in a while I come in, do a match for here and there. Those are primarily, I think, going more in Maslin now. They were doing Navarre and Maslin. Trying to think. Oh man, I was doing Pennsylvania for a little bit with All or Nothing Wrestling. Without looking at my calendar, that's just to name a few. I mean, I'm always open for anything, but I always try to share as much as I can, promos, so the poster, things like that, try to talk about the match, on social media, things like that.
Okay. So make sure you check out Alex Matthews on his social media, find out where he's going to be next. By the time you hear this, he'll already been at the Arnold, but we're going to pretend like it's before then. And he will definitely be at the Arnold wrestling the Stretcher James Avery. Check out where he's going to be next. You never know where he's going to pop up in the tri-state area. For Donnie Hoover and myself, Meathook Jim, and our special guest, Alex Matthews, this is the WrestleHorror Podcast. Thank you for joining, and we will see you on the next episode.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media outlets, facebook.com/WrestleHorror, Instagram @WrestleHorror, Twitter @WrestleHorror, on YouTube at the WrestleHorror channel. And you can also find us on our website, www.WrestleHorror.com.